And welcome back. And we are moving into our boys to men conversation for today. And of course, we are joined by a number of young men from Belize City who are here to just discuss what life is like growing up in Belize.
Yeah, definitely. Right? And we're looking forward to the conversation. We have a mix of different guys from SJC, from Canaan, from St. Vernon School to talk to us about their experiences in the different communities of Belize City as well. So we're looking forward to hearing their perspective. And of course, we have on my left.
Well, if we're talking to young people, in order to be responsible, we try to bring in somebody who works with youths as well. Today we have Douglas Hyde, who is the National Youth Coordinator for the Belize Police Department. And I'm going to ask the young men to do their own introduction so I don't mix up any names here, right? So let's start on this side. Go ahead and say your name and your age.
Well, my name is Rakim Peralta. I'm 15 years old.
Okay.
My name is Jamal Roches. I am 15 years old.
My name is Ranjan E. James, and I'm 16 years old, attending Canaan High.
My name is Anthony Joseph. I'm 17 years old.
My name is Devin Amoa. I am attending St. Vernon and I am 16 years old.
My name is Cornwallen and I'm 16 years old.
Okay. My name is Inconvita. I'm 16 years old.
Okay. Well, good morning to all of you, and thank you for being the brave ones to join us this morning, right? So I want to just jump right into the conversation. We want to find out what it's like being a young man growing up in Belize. And I want you to identify for me what you consider to be your biggest challenge being a young man in this society. All right. Rakim?
Well, I think growing up in Belize is kind of fun and easy to be. Like, being a young man is not hard. The biggest challenge to me is like basically having to deal with your peers. Some people will lead in the wrong path and stuff like that. But you just know how to follow the right path, to know what to do in life, to seek in life, and that's it, basically it.
I'm sure the perspective is different for everybody, so feel free to jump in.
I feel as a young man in Belize, the biggest challenge we face is finding positive role models for us in our lives, because a lot of us come from single-parent households that are and we're raised only by a mother or a grandmother, or and we don't have that father figure in our life, and that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Who from this side wants to speak? And it doesn't even have to be your challenge. It could be what you see within the schools itself with the other young men.
Well, a challenge for me, being at school, it is hard to find a peer that is positive, to hang with someone that is interested in school, because most of us want to stay out of class, bunk class, and do all sorts of things instead of being in class. Yeah. And so I find it difficult to find someone positive that will want to stay in class with me to work.
Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting point, and it's one that I wanted to touch on. As young men in Belize, in a secondary institution, you are already in a better position than a number of young men in this country. As you know, the rate of young men who move into secondary school and complete secondary school is not something that we can be proud of in this country. And we've been working on it for some time. So when you talk about staying committed to school, it's different for girls, you know, like we compete with each other to get good grades.
Yeah.
For young men, you compete, this is my assumption, and you can tell me if it's wrong, you compete to be cool and to be tough and to be manly. How do you, individually, how are you able to make it to this phase in your life in secondary school and stay committed on this path?
It's not an easy way to actually stay on path, but it's also you need to think about your future and what you want in life to basically keep that way, to stay in school and not follow wrong company. But it's not as easy as everybody thinks, but you could do it. It's possible.
Yeah. I mean, people don't think it's cool when you're sitting down and reading a book at school or studying. Is that the case?
Yeah.
So how do you do it even though perhaps you have somebody around you making fun? Let's go on this end.
For me, I'm not the type of person that just because I'm doing something, that's mean that everyone else have to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it because I want, because I know the benefits that I'll get from it.
Mm-hmm.
So like within my class, I have a couple people that would compete with me, mostly females, and we would compete versus each other. Some people might say that I'm not that much of one of the cool students, just because I'm always at the top. I'm not someone that likes to be at the far end, and to be at the beginning. So it gave me challenge within my past, but now knowing why I'm doing it, it doesn't bother me, none at all.
Has that been a challenge for you guys? Like, I know that when you're in high school, you have so many different personalities, and you have so many people who might like you, who might not like you. Is that hard, staying true to your own identity? Is that a challenge? Being yourself. And be completely honest. Go ahead.
Well, to be honest, being yourself, it comes from within. It's not something that you could show to anyone, because cyberbullying. You never know when one day you might wake up and meet your picture on Facebook with a lot of bad sayings about you and rumors, and that is so hard for you to be yourself within. And that's why growing up as a young man is very hard for us, because we don't know what people are going to say about us.
What I think about being yourself is that if it depends on what you want for yourself. If you just want to be somebody that becomes financially stable in the future and have a good setting, then you'll just stay as yourself and you'll study and you won't pay attention to other people. But if you want to be somebody popular, then you'll go and you'll forget your regular ways and you'll follow other people's ways.
What's the hardest form in high school? What's the hardest time for you that you struggled with? Go ahead. We have an answer right next to you. Yeah. Be honest.
My hardest struggle at third form, right? Because in my class, I got a lot of students who are challenging, especially my friend who I always do it, I think. They're too challenging to me, because every time when I try to do a work and so, and I would have passed there, right? Or even if I don't pass there, I get vexed. But I play it off, I think, and so time they get vexed too. So we just try to be equal and I think try to help out each other. So, yeah.
Okay. Anybody has a different perspective?
Well, I think the hardest form will be first form, because you transition from going from a primary school with other students to going to a new school with different students. So it's a big change in your life. So you have to adapt to that new setting, that new environment. So that will be the hardest form to get used to.
First form was definitely the hardest year for me, because coming from a co-ed institution to St. John's, which is all boys, it was sort of like a masculinity overload. Everyone trying to be the bigger man and competing. It was like just a big testosterone-driven competition.
I can imagine. For you guys, anybody?
First form? So we say first form and third form? Okay. And tell me about bullying. So somebody mentioned cyberbullying. I know some of you go to all boys school, some of you go to co-ed. We know that girls are often, and we've had the conversation with the girls, we hear the conversations about young girls being shamed online. Is it the same for young men?
Well, at times it could be shaming to some young men, but as the experience of being at the all-boys school, the bullying is not really a problem, well, to me as I see it. But like some forms, like first form, there's a lot of bullying because people don't know each other and they're just picking on each other. But
and try to show themselves.
Yeah, try to show yourself. But to me, in third form, we joke around a lot. Like, we don't bully each other. We are all brothers. We're all friends. We grew up bond with each other. So it's not really a lot of bullying. We talk a lot. So like we will insult each other a lot, but it's all in fun. It's not like
it's a guy thing.
It's a guy thing there. So
over here.
Well, I am second form, and most of the second form students, because they're in second form, they feel like they are the bigger ones, and so when the standard 6 students come into first form, they want to bully the students and then want to take away their money and say they have to pay protection fee, but you know, you're not doing anything, Nemis.
Yeah.
I
you
wanna
know,
go
you know,
ahead.
you should not bully someone, because if they bully you, miss, you know I like it.
Yeah.
And then it will turn into a bigger situation if you want to bully somebody and then they bully you back.
I didn't experience bullying in high school at all, but I can imagine that in today's society, especially young girls go through bullying, and not necessarily the guys, because that's what I've been hearing a lot. But when you find yourself in a position where you see bullying taking place, what do you do? How do you step aside? Do you say it's not my problem? If it's a friend, do you intervene? How do you deal with that?
Over.
Like in first form, I wasn't someone that was picked on,
Okay.
because of like half of the school already knowed me from maybe my
Yeah.
my aunts, my cousins, and so bullying wasn't a challenge for me. But then there was a student within our class, and he was someone that was constantly bullied, and so like after a while, I got tired of seeing it happening every day. So like I would talk to him to let him, you can say, hang around me, so that they would back off. And like they would leave him alone, but then his grades started to flunk, and then like my teachers started to see it, and they were asking me why didn't I help him. But then at the same time when I helped him, like people would judge me like, oh, if I'm hanging with him, I'm just like him, so they would try to bully me then. So bullying is something that is very common, but up to today date, I've always found a way to maneuver around it.
Yeah.
It's not something that have ever pushed me down. I just take it as a compliment. If you tell me something, I'll tell you something back and keep on moving.
Go ahead.
I remember my years too. Bully is from, I would say, from some serious years.
Yeah.
I went to St. Ignatius primary school, and I can remember being a small guy back then. And of course, you had the bigger guys or taller ones. And they used to pick on the small guys like myself, small in body and short in height. And I remember many years going through that process. And similarly, when I went to high school, Gwyned's High School, it was almost the same thing. I think the strength for me was basically learning what was my skill. And sports was one of that. So I was very much involved in basketball, and that brought out some of my skills earlier in both in primary school and high school. And I realized that as though the bigger guys respect you when you have some kind of talent or skill, and so they appreciate that more, because it's all about attention.
Yeah.
And bullying is about, the main focus is attention, and we've seen that in many forms of these, both male and females who do these at the schools or even on the streets or communities. And once they realize that you have some level of strength over them, they find ways to try to conquer that, or try to beat that. But as the young man mentioned earlier, it's finding some way of addressing bullying as standing up and dealing it right away, because most bulliers, if I can use that word, are scared. They actually have a weak side of them likewise too. So it's you as the individual who need to find that, because there's some strength that you have that they want, but because you may be the small one or you may be the shy one, they take advantage of that, because you may be the one who will cry or run away from the situation. But once you find your strength as an individual, that is a way of conquering the bullies. Dealing with the situation on the spot is also a way, or finding people to address it for you are also ways, because sometimes it's just that you may not want to address it right away. You were scared to deal with it, and you may afraid to say that tomorrow, if I do something today, if I deal with it tomorrow, they may come back and want to do me the same thing. And I had those experiences, and believe me, I had times I could remember people just chancing me, right? But over the period of time, you find ways to address it. And I think those were some of the years I could remember having fun with some of the same persons that now I look back and I appreciate what they did, because of doing that. It also brought out my talent and skills likewise too.
Because you find somewhere to divert your energy. You know, you spoke about something, and I'm gonna ask you guys, because it's so interesting. When you talk to young women about, you know, something bad happens, and then they usually go and report it. When you talk to young men, they'll say, "Me no want to be a snitch," right? Because that's a bad thing when it comes to young men. Tell me about that. Explain it to me. What is the difference between you reporting a wrongdoing or seeing somebody doing something? Do you share the same perspective? Is it common at school? Explain it to me.
Well, it's a little common back at SJC because a lot of people don't like to tell. I think big influence in that because of people, rappers and stuff like they don't usually they don't influence people to actually tell or do stuff like that. So they'll just be like, oh, I'll deal with the situation myself, and then that's cause problem.
Yeah.
But to me, I think at the same time, certain things you have to report and actually try to stop.
Yeah.
But try to deal with it personal with the person. If you don't want to actually tell us, try to talk to the person. Try to approach him and talk about the problem.
Yeah. Anybody else? Rena? Go ahead.
I think it's something that we've been conditioned to believe that, you know,
There's a boys' code.
yeah, it's like a boy code that you don't snitch on someone else, right? And if you do, then you're kind of outcast from the group or clique that you were once a part of. And that's just something that's been implemented in my mind since I started attending SJC.
Yeah.
And now me personally, I don't usually tell when I see something wrong unless it's serious.
Yeah. Brendan, tell me about your thoughts on that.
Well,
Ranyan, sorry.
I think it's a challenge because we got to look on how people see us. Like if say he did something wrong and everybody will be like, oh, no tell Panaji because if I mean you wouldn't want to tell Pan you you know it influences us, and then we are like, I not tell Pan if I right there, then it do it again and again. Like it will continue if it don't put a stop to it, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want to be claimed as when he like that, he like snake, we can't do nothing wrong. Yes, and it's a whole challenge because you have to look on how they will see you too. It's your appearance.
And also, I can imagine that there's a flip side to that coin, because if there's something taking place that affects you, and you would want, that support from whatever classmate, what's the reasoning behind not telling? I know you're here in Fama Fided, all of that thing, right? But in the case where you're the one who's in the situation where you're being bullied or you're affected by whatever it is, wouldn't you want that kind of good Samaritan, help out?
Growing up, I'm, again, not someone that was bullied, but when it comes to bullying, in the case that you're putting it, I'm not someone that would just stay there, but especially if I'm being bullied, I'm not someone that would quick to run to someone for help.
Okay.
I'm mostly the kind of person that I would want to take it into my own hand. I would approach you and ask you why you're doing it, and I would want a valid answer, a good reason from you of why you're bullying me, because not just because you did something and I went to tell, meaning you have to pick on me, because if I didn't tell, it could have went to another level of someone even being injured, and then it would have left a guilty feeling on me to say I could have told, and that person wouldn't have been injured. So I'm mostly the person that when I see bullying, I would rather stop it or go tell. I don't.
You're
care
not fearful. Yeah.
I don't care of what other people say. If you have a problem with me, you have a problem with me. I'm not on this earth for anyone else to like me but my parents. So.
Amen.
So, what's the most common misconception people have about young men today?
I think if we
There's
get
a smirk on the end there, so we want to hear that one.
I'm not sure. I was just thinking about it. That's a really good question.
Go with your first thought, right? What's the most common thing that people assume about young boys in this country, young men like yourself, that is just absolutely not the truth?
I'll use the word ragamuffin. They'll usually refer us to. Like we're rowdy. We're not civilized. We're not.
Now you're rough.
Yeah, we're rough. We're just not.
And that's not the case. Anybody else?
Continuing from what he said, one of the main one is that a man is supposed to be tough. He's not supposed to be someone that's all soft like and wimpy, you can say, or more girlish. She's supposed to be someone that will embrace stuff as it comes to him. You take it head on.
Anybody else?
Or go ahead.
Well, I think that it have a lot to do with gender race, because in society today, like if I want to be a nurse, but I say, oh no, girl be nurse, boy, you would go, you like that, right? And then like, say if a girl want to be a pastor, they'll be like, the only man be pastor, they're a leader, this, that, right? And that actually a challenge too as well, because we have to live to please somebody sometimes. Sometimes we can just be like, all right then, we don't care when none of them say this, that, blah, blah, because that also make we look bad.
I'm really glad you brought that up, and I want to jump in, just go back to something that you had mentioned, Raheem. How do you define your masculinity, and what drives your masculinity? Because you've mentioned music, the influence of music, and I know that a lot of artists nowadays, Alkaline and Popcorn, they all talk about things like get woman, get money, get smoke weed, all of this, and all of that in today's society defines what it means to be a strong man. Is that the case for you guys? Is that what you think, or what influences your masculinity?
What I say is would drive my masculinity is what I want to be for other people. I don't want to be somebody that just acts out of order and does whatever he wants. I want to live for other people. I want to please people and make them happy. I want to live for the right people. So I'll do good things. I'll be a kind person. And I guess that also ties in with my personality as to the things that I want.
Yeah.
If I can add, I think the myth, going back to some of the myths of our young people, specifically our males, that they are lazy. They don't like challenges.
They're like, oh yeah,
that's true. They don't like school.
Yeah,
right?
they don't like school.
That's the first.
They're the ones who will basically want to tell you, like, they have all the ideas, they have all the suggestions, but they don't have all the answers. Secondly, they would think different ways of addressing things, while as an adult you see it differently. So the young males will be the first to run to something rather than processing it. And so some of those are some of the myths that we've seen. In terms of the subcultures, it seems that our males pick up quick. So in terms of the dressing styles, the earrings, those kind of stuff, those are the myths of some of the young males.
What's cool in your generation right now for a young man? What's considered a cool young man?
What's lit?
Oh, well, there you go, right? This is how to touch. I'll go with cool. She says lit. Go ahead and tell us. Be free. In your schools, in your community, what's considered cool?
Mostly within our community, someone that is considered cool is someone that you can say you can trust to not talk or snitch on you. Someone that smokes, that's very popular around people, because like you can be cool, but the minute they found out that you're like not a smoker, there would be like a little gap between that. Like there would be you'll feel a little left out of the group. So I would say smoking is something that's
smoking weed.
Yes, ma'am. That's rising rapidly.
Yeah.
What I would say that people consider as cool is people who have a lot of the girls these days are the cool one. And the people that will try act older and like you said, smoke and go drink and drive and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I think that the ones that are famous on Facebook, Snapchat, who got a lot of views, likes, and the one that dress, people that like me, who dress a certain type of way, with Vans tennis, you have on your joggers, then what I say, you cool, right? But people who don't have the money to get those stuff and things, those are the one that they bully about those stuff. Like your appearance, how you look. And that's right there, it's about who is cool. If you look that type of way, and
So I hear several things. I hear the rebel. I hear the person who will do things that older people are doing. They smoke the weed, the drink. I think you said drive too. You know, how you dress, social media. How important is it for you to be able to fit into that culture? As young people, naturally, you want to fit in. You know, I think that's just, there's nothing wrong with it. We all want to find people that we can associate with. How do you establish your own self and try to do so the best you can without, hanging out on the corner of the street smoking weed? You look like you're ready to talk. Tell me about it. How do you do it?
Well, I don't smoke because my parents didn't encourage that. And so, for me, it's hard to hang out with somebody where I really want to hang out with, but if they smoke, when they smoke, you have to try to go a next way or find a next direction to go, because your parents don't want you to smoke, and if they find out you smoke, then you get punishment. But it's really hard to hang out with somebody who don't smoke, because most people these days, they want to fit in with everybody, and so they smoke and they drink and they hang out. I hang out with one specific friend, but he not smoke. And so, all he man the pan, and I fix stay in a boat all day.
Boat. All right.
And so, I hang out with he, and most of the time we're together.
Yeah.
We don't think about doing not idle unless somebody want to pick my way, and then we get all here say and want to do something about it. But if not, it's easy for we easy for cooperate with people, associate with people. But it's very hard to deal with a situation when somebody pick on you, because then I want to tell nobody because I say you're a punk then, and nobody want get class as a punk. And so for we want you take it in our own hands, and we want run for weapon. Then it will lead to bloodshed or somebody injuries or something like that. But we just try to take women out for that and try to stay positive.
But how do you cope with the pressure when somebody say, okay, let's go drink? And if you say, no, I want to go study, that won't make you look so cool. Or somebody say, let's go smoke, or here, have a puff. What do you do?
Most people make up those excuses about, I have to stay at home tonight because my mom don't want me to go out. But stuff like that, you'll make up things to seem like, I could get out of the situation quicker without being
truthful.
Yeah, without being truthful, but at the same time getting out of the situation without being uncool.
Yeah.
So make up some kind of excuse not to go.
Yeah. How about you?
Actually, right, if they would let's say pressure me for drink or smoke or anything, I wouldn't do it, right? Because I'll be honest, right? If mama find out, mama beat me. if she find out that, she would have punched me in my mouth. Hey, that's why I not do simpleness. Cause the thing there where I do, if mama would have found out, then like say he want make us smoke, and I go with him, and he tell me take a leap off, right, boy? So, and if I take the leap off there, somebody to watch me the same time, that person they know my mama. Go tell my mama, next minute mama call that the spot where I there, go pull me in my ears and punch me up, I think. I wouldn't want to make mama do that, so I wouldn't do that kind of thing there.
The rest of you? I love your honesty, thank you. Anybody else?
If someone would try to pressure me to ask me to go smoke or stuff, especially people that I hang with, most of them, they know that I'm not someone, I don't have a lot of free time on my hand, because immediately after school, I have to go pick up my brothers, and after that, evening classes until 6 o'clock. So I'm someone that's always on task, always have something to do. If I do have free time, it's because I only have a little free time to get in a little studies. So I'm not someone that would hang around with the crew that would smoke. But if they would take a little break and enjoy yourself, enjoy life, more or less my answer would not be a straight up no. I'd be I have to do something because I know later in the future I want to be something in life. I don't know where you're going with it, because most of my friends, the people that I hang with, I don't lie to them. I would be straightforward and honest. Yeah. I'm not someone that play around with emotions that much. I'll be brutally honest with you.
Yeah. I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I know that my friends know me, just like your friends know you. My friends don't encourage me. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of those things. And my friends respect that, and I'm sure your friends respect that. So I wanted to ask, who is a friend? Because you see, you mentioned that you have people on Snapchat, on Facebook, on Instagram, and you have hundreds and thousands sometimes of friends, but you have this many that know you. How do you determine that balance, that difference? Who is a friend and who is a social media follower?
Well, a friend is mostly somebody that you're close to, somebody you can have a bond with, somebody you feel comfortable telling anything to, being close to not do bad things with.
Yeah.
But a social media friend will be anybody follows on Instagram or anybody that views your Snapchat story.
There's just one more number.
Yeah, there's another number on the list. But a friend, they're different. They're outstanding. They're like something, a star, a bright star shining in the night.
Oh, you're so cute.
Are your friends, do you all keep friends that perhaps do things that you don't do? Like the drinking and the smoking and the whatever else people are into?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of my friends, they engage in those sort of activities, but they know I don't, so they respect that about me. And I can overlook those things about them because there are a few bad qualities, but there are many more good qualities of them.
I want to talk just a little bit longer about the drinking, because it is actually a problem within the society, and we have more and more people who have addictions and they don't face it, you know, and they start very young. They start long before you guys. And even though I won't ask you to say on camera whether or not you've tried drinking, you've had drinks, we know that it's a problem within high schools. And I want to ask you if you think that your peers, those who consume alcohol to the point of blackout, to the point of doing it on a frequent basis, do you think they recognize that they have a problem? And would you say that it's a problem within teenage culture?
I would definitely call it a problem. And I don't really think that they see it as a problem. I think they just do it because they want to do it and continue doing it. But the thing is about drinking is that it's not just drinking itself is not really a problem. It's the way you do it. It's like if you take a nap when you go home, you're tired, so you'll just sleep for a little bit. And that's good, right? That helps your brain to rest. But if you go and just sleep the entire day and don't do anything, then you get called lazy. And that's not good.
That's true.
It's like with drinking. If you only drink a little bit, then you just relax. But if you drink a lot, then it becomes like an addiction.
Yeah.
Then I have to ask, do you think it's
Let me
okay?
just 1 second. I think Doug wanted to say something, because this is a problem they're trying to fight.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a huge problem.
When you mentioned it earlier, Marlene, NDOC, National Drug Abuse Council, did a research last year, if I can recall, with specifically schools, looking at both primary and secondary schools, and it was very alarming in terms of the usage of marijuana and also drinking. The percentage were very, very high. I think the age of persons smoking marijuana started from the age of 8, if I recall. Accessibility to alcohol is like age of 5. So we're seeing that within the age range for young people, and likewise we're seeing that going to high school, it becomes, as some of the young men here mentioned, it becomes a macho thing, and it's also a peer pressure thing. Likewise, if you were with 4 of your friends and you're the only one not drinking, I mean, you have to have a strong mind and a strong heart to say, I know I taste none, I don't want to taste how the weed tastes, I don't want to taste how the alcohol tastes, when your 4 friends that tell you that this thing really nice and you get a good feeling. Somewhere or other, if it's not really trying the cigarette thingy to look cool, you want to try the weed thingy because, of course, you don't want to be the one to be out of the picture, or of course taste and leave it at the whiskey, or taste the correct or one of the other high level kind of drinking alcohol itself, just because you want to look good with the crowd and stuff. But it's also a area of our concern to where when it comes to young people, because we realize more and more that some of the drugs itself takes a different angle when consumption is definitely when you overconsume. We've seen where these are some of the causes
for violent crimes in our society.
Crimes. And also it takes the mentality away of a serious thinker to process the situation. And I don't know, because again the studies have not shown, but I think some of our drugs they put things in and so either get stronger or something more or less that happen mentally when they smoke it or consume it. And likewise the alcohol, because I'm seeing where certain percentage of rum they go up, but certain other things are added in, so again you may feel like you're just to get high, but you'll lose your control mentally in many other things too.
Or one of the most dangerous combinations, the alcohol and energy drink, is horrible. But I wanted to ask one more question since we were talking about the NDAC study. Is marijuana and alcohol the two main drugs? I mean, I know they're the two main drugs, but are there other drugs that people within the youthful population are engaging in that you know of or you've heard of? Let's say we've heard of. We've heard reports of ecstasy, for example.
One of the new ones that I've heard of is the cough syrup that they're sipping with Sprite now and Jolly Ranchers, and
Yeah.
that's coming up because it's easy to buy at any any pharmacy or store that you can get.
Wow. So people will find a way to be able to get high. Yeah, you were saying?
I wanted to ask because I think in a lot of ways, the reason why young people drink is because adults drink, especially within our country. The culture of drinking in Belize, it's ridiculous. People go out and they drink until they don't know their own names. And they don't realize the influence that it has because their children are seeing it, their cousins are seeing it, their friends' children are seeing it. And do you think that, what influences you to drink? And do you think it's okay to drink at this age? And be completely honest, because I heard you mention that if you take a little, or that's fine to relax, but instead of drinking the whole thing, is it okay to drink in your mind at this age? And be honest, it's fine if that's your opinion.
I'll go back again to the topic I was saying, music.
Yeah.
It's all because of that. I think because when you watch music videos and stuff, you see all the rappers popping champagne, getting drunk in the music video, and they're doing all this cool stuff with girls and stuff. So people in Belize want to try to do that too. Like especially young men want to do that.
Yeah.
So they'll see that and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I want to try it, and then they don't know when to stop. So it becomes a next addiction to follow rappers in their bad ways and stuff like that.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think a lot of people find it okay to drink if it's just a few and it's in like a social environment, and I think it's okay as well at like my age. In less than a year I'll be 18 already, so there's not much difference in that sense. So I think it's okay in social environments to take a few drinks.
I want to move to the next topic. So we're going to talk about, we talked about the elements of being cool. Let's talk about being a gallis. Right? Thank you. You're reminding me of that word I would have forgotten.
People still
now, I'm trying to figure out where to start with this one, right? How many of you want to get married? Let's start there. Everybody wants to get married, right? Except one.
And Mr. Amua, he's like, no.
No. All right. So it's cool to have a lot of girlfriends. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you said earlier? I see some faces around that are scared to talk. But I want you to explain to me what the peer pressure is like, or what the expectation is of a young man of your age in terms of relationships with girls. Are you supposed to be in a committed relationship? Are you supposed to be
sexually active?
Sexually active. Are you supposed to be with multiple girls? What are the things that are expected of you at your age, or of your friends at your age?
In group, like if you're with your clique and stuff like that, it's mostly with your groups that influence you to have more than one girlfriends, because they'll be like, oh, we're all going up together, but at the same time, we have our girlfriends, but we want to mess with other girls while we're out, stuff like that, to be like fit in, what you said. So try to get other girls while they have their one, and not to be committed and stuff like that. And they want to look cool in front of a crowd and shine in front of everybody.
I think that they want to get a lot of girls because it shows that they're better and they can do more things if they have lots of girls. And okay, I will look better on you. You can't beat me. Like
it's
that they try to say. Yeah, it's like a competition. Like one of my friends, he told me that he didn't really like the idea of cheating, but if it's an opportunity, then he'll do it. I don't really understand what he meant by that, but I know it's not something that you should do.
Here? Tell me what your friends think. I mean, I want to hear this one, because this is, when we talked about misconceptions, this is part of what people expect of young boys as well.
Also, something that I've also noticed within most people that have more than one sex partner, someone to have a relationship with, some people might just have like one main person that they would say is my girlfriend or someone that I want to be with. But on the other hand, they would have someone that is more like their side chick. Because they would be like, if she leaves me, I have someone else. So like they're trying to avoid loneliness. So like they would have someone that they can say, I own this person, instead of like being a part of a group whereby everyone has someone that they can be with, and you're the only one within the group that doesn't have anyone to say, oh, I own this person, or I can go to this person and get what I want at any time that I want. So some people just do it to dodge loneliness. Some do it because they want to be cool, to be a part of the popular group.
Like a backup plan.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it goes back to what Rakeem said earlier, with the influence of rappers and musical artists. They, in their lyrics, in their songs, they usually regard women as objects, and they have multiple women shown in their music videos. And if that is what the young generation perceives as cool, then that's what they're going to try to mimic in their everyday life. And so they try to be like these people who aren't necessarily positive role models, but they see them as someone who they want to be like. And so they have that mentality in their minds, right, of having multiple women and just regarding them as objects.
One more. No, we have two more over here to share in. Yeah.
Well, the effect that everybody expect of us is the fame on Facebook. Like, if you don't got fame, me no want he like that. He don't have the money. He can't man me. He don't have the money. He have to spend his lunch money. Like that, to me, it's all about money. Because, say if I'm a poor guy and I can't afford for things, but I love she and I want she, I still have to borrow the money. I have to try impress her. And if I can't impress her, I can't get her.
Okay. Now, we've had conversations on this show, and I can go back to data once again, that young girls are having babies as teenagers, right? Many of them impregnated by young men. So I want to say, or I want to ask, have you personally ever been educated, informed about your own sexual and reproductive health? Have you been taught about feelings you may have, what you may do, and what the consequences are? And tell me what age that happened and with who. And did mom tell you about it? Did dad tell you about it?
Growing up, my mom and dad, they have never, I won't say they have never, but they're not people that I would say I don't trust. I have a lot of trust in my mom and my dad because like, we have a very close bond. So like growing up, my dad and my mom, they wouldn't tell me about stuff. They would mostly scold me about if you get a girlfriend, and they would explain the consequences to me. And I would more or less see that I learned about different contraceptives from a very young age from my parents. And they also encouraged me not to have it. They told me like what is a great age more or less to get a family, then to start your family. And she mentioned different stuff what you want to have before you start your family.
Yeah.
So the bond was always there with them telling me.
So they warned you.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am,
How about you?
Well, my mom always tell me about you're not supposed to get a girlfriend. But most people, as a young generation, we always want to fit in with the cool kids, like always. We always want to fit in with cool kids, so we are stay dress up. We going at the barber. We are spend hours at the barber. Most boys say only girl go to salon and take hours. But when a boy want be a girlist, they go to the barber and they could sit down there all day and just wait for one markup, so that they could go be and dress up and look for one girl. But then when they have their girl, they still stay up on the corner up and hang out with their usual friend or they click when they hang with and do the same thing. But then my mama always want me about girl, but something it hard for, well, be what gal is. That not certain way. But my granny they always talk to we about. They always say we about loyalty and all kind of thing. How much and the disease and the sickness what out there.
Yeah.
How you cause it, how you could prevent it, the sickness and everything. But so we try to avoid from that.
Any of you exposed to information about how to have safe sex in school? Is this something that you hear in school?
Well, yeah, my integrated science teacher teaches us about the stuffs are safety tips, how to not prevent diseases and stuff like that.
Okay.
And teach us about the body and to help us understand it more,
Yeah.
to not make the mistake that will cause our bad situation in the future or
Yeah.
a downfall in our future.
You know, it's very important to have the conversation about sex and you know, the different elements that it involves. When it comes to personally, you have to make that decision. Am I willing to be sexually active at 16, at 15, or am I going to wait? So I want to hear from you personally. Is that a conversation you've had with yourself, saying that, well, I'm going to abstain, or I'm going to do it, or if I get the opportunity, then I will? Is that a conversation? Have you thought about it? And if you have, would you like to share? And I'm not
there are
asking.
lots of okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you hear messages of abstinence? Do you hear people telling you don't have sex?
Yes.
Yeah. Parents,
yes.
where else?
Okay.
Where else do you hear it?
At school, our religious studies at school, they
Okay.
Promote abstinence and waiting till marriage a lot, and they've even had different speakers come to talk to us about saving ourselves for marriage and our future wife.
Do you think this message is connecting with the youth?
Very few actually take that into account and believe it.
Okay. So knowing that we have the risks of HIV, we have still an issue with teenage pregnancy. What would be the best way to talk to young men about how they can protect themselves from diseases and also prevent potential pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies? What would be the best way, in your opinion, to be able to reach out to young men? They talk to young girls about it, hopefully. But if young men are educated on this, it can be helpful as well. So you tell me, when do you think that they should know? Who should tell them? Tell me.
I think that most people should learn basically like the foundation of about how to use a condom or how to protect themselves from a very young age, because even in today's society, younger people is having sex. Sometimes their parents doesn't even know about it, doesn't even know that their child is doing these kind of activities. So not everyone would go by abstinence. So my safety tip to them would be, if you're gonna do it, at least use a condom to protect yourself and check everything to make sure that you're protecting not only yourself but your future.
Like he said, I think the best advice is to just tell them to use protection. There's a lot of stuff out here to prevent those things, to stop pregnancy and to prevent actually having the pregnancy. And even if, think about the situation, what do you want in your life? Like, if you're into that situation that you think, oh, can I mind the child? Could I actually mind myself when I do this? So I think the right time is to wait when you're ready, like you're fully, not fully developed, but you're fully prepared, matured to actually have kids, have a family, and settle down.
Okay.
Who should be the one to tell you? Go ahead and just shout it out. You don't have to.
Parents.
Parents?
Yeah.
You'd feel more comfortable if it comes from parents, all right? And how many of your parents have spoken to you? Okay. Yeah? Plenty of times. But do they tell you the hows and the whys and the details, or are they just saying, don't get any girl pregnant?
My father is kind of straight up, so he'll tell me if I have a child, I'll have to man it. I'll have to man myself, I'll have to man the child. So he doesn't like to beat around the bush, so he'll tell me straight up what will happen, what will happen afterwards, and what will progress in my life. So
Do you think the guys who are cool, who are gallus in a society, you think they understand all these? I mean, because you guys aren't gallus, right? No. Okay, I'm hoping. Good. But do you think the people who are considered cool, who have a lot of girlfriends, the way you're speaking, you sound like you're saying they're sexually active with multiple women. Do you think they know how to protect themselves? From what you've seen?
From what I've seen, the gals I know, none of them have a baby yet, so they
Okay.
they know how to use
judgment.
it.
Yeah. You were saying?
I was gonna say that they do know how to do it, but they just don't want to do it because it feels better without the condom.
Yeah. Oh, that's still a very common thought that people have, that they don't like to use condoms. We've heard this many times in HIV forums, that men say they don't like using condoms, so they don't use them. Do we still hear that?
I hear it sometimes.
Okay. All right. I know it's a tough conversation, but I wanted to get your perspective. Go ahead.
Can I just add to that? Definitely, this is a year of challenge when it comes to young males, specifically when it comes to sexual reproductive health. The strategies every so often have to be adjust, adapt, because we're seeing more and more across the Caribbean. This is a challenge, more Belize, and that young men being educated in the area of sexual and reproductive health, knowing, understanding their body, what works, what does not works, is always a challenge. I think the clubs, the youth groups, those are some of the strategies when sharing these information with our young males specifically. I'm always energized with the BFLA youth group itself as how they strategize in reaching their young males. The Department of Youth itself using some strategy to get to the young person through the unit that focus on that aspect likewise. But there's that set of young persons who are not in schools, and that is always a challenge, how to get the information to them. You mentioned about the gallus. Music influence a lot. And so the most artists are not singing about using condoms. They're not telling you that you need to have a 15, 20 gal and use a condom with each one. And then they tell you have 100 gal, 1,000 gal, and you have to do whatever you need to do. And so many of our young males are picking up on that. I mean, that is the in thing that you have 5, 6 gal and you don't have to worry about nothing, because you could buy certain things, and by the next day if you catch anything that dead. And so all of these information, which are sometimes wrong information, it takes away the proper education and the proper way of what our young people should supposed to be thinking, especially our young males. And so the crisis situation or the confusing situation of our for young boys to men continue to go through that whole process, where if you never get proper educated as a young boy, you grow up to be a man, but you still not understand because you don't know, you just didn't get the right education during that process. We see it here in Belize a lot, where we think our men, or some of our men, know themselves or know the situation, but they don't. They're still not educated enough to understand the certain dynamics of their body and what happened. Why? Because as a young male, they were not properly educated. And so this transition is very much important for our young males to understand likewise, and the information is not, if it's not properly in a way to strategize to bring it to the young males, then they won't hear it. And as he mentioned, music, a lot of young people into music, a lot of young people into the social media concept. So the strategy cannot be just with the sit down about and with the talk like, oh, you bring up talk about sex, oh, you talk about this, because they won't. But if you set it up in a pattern that these young persons would want to gravitate to, then of course with see more and more than that they happen. And I'm always applaud about this, what we're seeing in society right now and across the world. Good not the pay no more. It seems like the more bad thing that happen, the more people gravitate to that. So it look bad, we want it. But if it look good, no, we don't want that kind of way. And it's kind of amazing that that kind of society or that kind of lifestyle is what is catching more and more, that the bad things are what is working and the good things are, we are left that for tomorrow. We know what is good, but we don't worry about that. We won't worry about the bad things in kind of way.
Yeah. Very important point, you know, and I think when you talk about the education, I think most young men know the basics, but it's beyond that. And if young girls who have a bit more of a complicated system are not learning, I'm sure young men aren't learning as well. Now, so it's cool. I want to go back to this just moving forward. It's cool to be a gallus when you're young. And you all want to get married. Do you want to be a gallus when you're older too?
No. 'Cause
Okay.
I think it would ruin your relationship.
Okay.
And I think it shows that you don't actually want to be in a committed relationship in that marriage.
And if you know you want to be a galaxy in your future, why get married for?
Okay. All right. So there are different standards, obviously. It's okay for a man or a young man to have multiple girlfriends. But you don't want girlfriends who have what is considered a bad reputation. Right? Why, I mean, what is the double standard that exists? You all have a certain expectation of girls and want to have a different expectation for yourself. Explain this to me in your own words.
Me and my cousin, we kind of have this conversation once. After he came back from UB, this is one of the questions that was within his mind, and we went over it. And more or less, we came over the answer that because for a male can have multiple sex partners and he'll be classified as cool because of most people still go by the stereotype that male are the dominant species or the dominant gender, so we can do what we want and we have more power or more control over the females versus a female that have multiple sex partner. You would say, no, I don't want you because I don't know where the man that she sleep with have, I don't know if they have HIV or AIDS, but then the male trust themselves to have multiple sex partner.
You know, I want to jump in because I think that this is not just a conversation for young men your age. I think there are adult men who still struggle with being a gallus, even if they don't call themselves that. They have multiple women, they have wives, they have girlfriends, they have side chicks, they have baby mamas, they have all of these things. But I know that there's always that one person that you look to who you think that's my mentor, that's my example, that's my role model. Tell me about the men in your life that you look to as someone that you want to maybe emulate as it relates to your relationships or the way that you treat women or the way that you perceive having a female partner or a male partner. Is there anyone in your life that you could think about as a role model or an example?
Who has your relationship goals? Was it #relationship goals? See?
Most of my dad would be one of my main role models because growing up with him, he's always been like the person that was there for me. My mom took care of me most of the time, but my dad, he's more of the person that have more of a connection with me.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to sports and other stuff, he was always there for me to say help me. So my dad would be someone that I would want to be once in the future because comparing him to me. And my mom, like when they have troubles, he would like listen to my mom's part of the story, tell his part, and they would settle out their differences without violence. And he's not someone that likes to use obscene language. Like he could go through a complete conversation with you, and you wouldn't like get any negative response from him. So that's someone that I would like to be.
You have an amazing dad.
Anyone else?
Amazing.
I think my role models are models are my mother, my father, and a rapper Drake. Well,
that's fine.
That is fine because in my mind I'm thinking,
yeah,
that's fine.
My mother is always pushing me to do better, to try to find the best in me. My father, he wanted to see me do the best because he didn't do good, so he wanted to see me reach up to the skies to achieve for the best. My uncle, I should mention my uncle. He is a big motivation to me because when he was young, he wanted to be a pilot, and now he's actually a pilot. So from when he was young, he wanted something in life, and he achieved it.
Yeah.
So to me, that is a big big thing to me to actually see him.
Fantastic.
I know he's trying to motivate me
Yeah.
to do that. At the same time, Drake though, certain songs from him are like actually good or vibes for me, like to
Yeah.
actually know and listen to and actually understand what he's trying to come from, and that's kind of good to me. So
Yeah.
it's actually my
And he's known for that not being like a,
that
I would
yeah.
I would say that my role models are my best friend who I grew up with, who's actually a bit older than me, and my mother. I think that the reason my best friend is actually my role model is because he's a very talkative and outgoing person, which when I was growing up, I was like really, really shy and kept to myself. But as I got older, I learned to go out more with other people with his help. So I guess that's why he's always been there for me, and that's why I always consider him as a role model. And for my mother, it's because I live in a single parent household, and she takes care of me and my brother and my sister. And I just see that that's very good that she's independent and she's able to take care of us and still have time for herself and not be stressed out all the time. And I want to be able to do things like that on my own if I ever have to.
Okay, well, we got to take a break. So, and there's more that we want to cover. And so I want to encourage our viewers at home to stay tuned. We continue with our conversation from boys to men growing up in Belize. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what boys do on social media. So that's coming up after the break. Stay tuned.
For over 20 years, Great Belize Television, Channel 5, has been the leader in award-winning local programming. We have also produced some of the best video commercials, documentaries, and live events for clients countrywide. And we continue to offer high-quality production services to maximize your advertising needs for your business or organization. From concept to completion, let us help you achieve your marketing goal by producing your commercial, documentary, graphic animation, live event, or even designing your website. Using state-of-the-art equipment and experienced personnel, we can make your ideas come alive. For more information, come see us on Coney Drive or give us a call at 223-0146 or 223-7781 or email us at gbtv@btl.net. Great Belize Productions, making great television in Belize.
And welcome back. And we're continuing our conversation from boys to men growing up in Belize. We have a very brave panel with us today, talking openly about what it is to grow up within Belize, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're coming back kind of just to get a little bit of a perspective, right? Social media is a very important part of all of our lives now, not just young people, everybody. And the way we use it and the way we interact on it is very differently. So I want to ask you, what do you do on social media and how influential is it in how you live your life?
Well, I use Snapchat a lot. I don't usually use Facebook. I have Facebook, but I don't use it as much because it's not really fun again.
Old people.
Guys.
Okay.
But I use Snapchat a lot to like just snap, like in my situation I will snap. Like if I'm with friends, I'll do a little video and show everybody what you're doing. Yeah. If I'm playing game, I snap. If I'm listening to music, I will snap the music and stuff like that. But it's not really. I use it for showing off or anything. I just use it for seeing everybody see what I'm doing. Yeah, connect to people.
How important are your followers?
That's a good question.
I'm not sure if they're really, well, they're important. Everybody's important because I watch people's snaps and they watch my snaps. So it's like a in-between thing. They're not really like influential in my life, but same time I talk to some of them. I try to get to know them and stuff like that.
Do you need to have hundreds or thousands, or is 10, 50 okay?
That's not in society or in schools. I think if you have more friends, I think people like you more. But if you have less friends, you're not considered.
Let me understand this. How many of you use Facebook? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you use Instagram? How many of you use Snapchat? Okay. All right. So you're the most advanced to the end. You skip through all the rest. You only do Snapchat, and then and most of you are using multiple media. We had a conversation with young women, and we talked about what people talk about with the nudes, right? This is real, right? What are your thoughts on this? Is it only young women sending nude photos?
No.
Okay. So boys do it too. Okay. And how often do you receive or send or know that people receive or send nudes? How common is it?
Well, I think that is very common because nearly almost every 2 or 1 week, you see somebody on Facebook be like, 100 likes for say this person nude, or 100, like, you know, and I think it's all because the popularity that they want fame to get friends, and it's because of that, right? And what causes someone to send these nudes? Because they trust it, so they trust that person to keep it to themselves, and you know, like what I say, men can be dogs.
Yeah.
They send it about and like run them out, but it's also because of friends influence them. Like, send me that, I want it. Make I post it, like, you know, so they could bully that person, cyberbullying.
Okay, so men send nudes too. Is it a big deal if somebody shares another man's nude picture? Is it like as embarrassing as what happens to the girls? Just explain to me. This is something I didn't have growing up, right? Is it as embarrassing?
It's awkward.
It's awkward, okay. But it's not the full-fledged scandal as when a female's nude is released.
Yeah, it could also be embarrassing depending on how everyone sees you. Because if you're someone like everyone sees you as a positive person and like you have a lot of followers, and then out of the blue someone just posts up a nude picture of you, that can really wreck your reputation.
Why do you think young people are sending nudes? Because at this age, girls aren't very developed, or maybe they're really developed, and that guys,
make no assumptions here, but
it's the same thing. But why do you think young people send nudes at this age?
Well, I think that they send nudes because if I say me and you are dating, and I ask you to send me a nude, I'll be like, so you don't love me enough to send me, you not trust me, you know, like, and then you are getting on a mood like, I love you, I trust you, and I want you to have it, and then that enough for make you send it.
Wait, hold on. So
somebody here has a. Let me get this one. Yeah.
Like what he said, it's mostly like people in a relationship or people that want to mess around with other people, and they just send it, and then it's like sexting. They just do it like that.
Okay.
You're saying Rahim? You're not saying?
Yeah. No, I want to add there. He mentioned the word there, sexting.
Yeah.
It's literally you sharing, I sharing. And of course, it's an in thing for young people because, I mean, if the female tell me, send you one picture, and of course she wants to see back a picture. Facebook itself has become so good in many ways of communication that it drives you to that limit of saying, yeah, what I want to see too, right? And of course, if you send me, I want to send you kind of idea, kind of concept and stuff there. I think what have happened over the past couple months and years is just simple that people take it to a different level.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about embarrassment, and you also mentioned about people hurting people's reputation. Some of these are genuine. He mentioned in terms of a boyfriend-girlfriend concept. I mean, it's just that, a matter of communication, and somebody get the information and get a picture and then send it out there and they embarrass the whole situation, because sometimes genuine, it's just fun. It's a way of saying, here what, I want to do it, I consent to do it, but somebody outside of it takes it to a different stage or a different level.
That's the part that I never understand. If it's people between a relationship, then how does it get out? Please explain to me.
I think it get out because they will have a bad breakup and then they'll get mad at each other and then eventually it'll just get out and people...
That's exactly it.
So
It's
mainly
spite?
that you have to spite somebody.
Do you think sometimes you show your best friend?
I think sometimes it could be like there are guys where they're like, somebody said dogs, they want boast of what they have, so they show it about the place.
Also following on what he said, like boasting, sometimes you get it and like, well, you know that how that girl over there, sir, that girl where you know I have a nude picture, she tend to show your friend and be like, make her see it. And you're like, send it tonight. So when you send it to your friend, you just say that you have enough trust in your friend that your friend post it on Facebook. And then your friend boast to, and the boasting continues until eventually end up on Facebook. And out of all of them, it's not only the person that posts the picture that's being embarrassed, it's also the female picture that went up because the female trusted that person that she sent the picture to, and then the trust does fall out. So like following that, not only the female picture will be posted, also the male picture, because she will have picture of him, and she's like, if you would do that to me, I'm gonna do the same thing back to you.
Do you think young men think about what the girl experiences when her naked photo is posted publicly or shared? Do you think they take that into consideration at all?
No, I think they just want revenge after what the person did to them, or probably what happened in the relationship, so they also want revenge. They don't think about the consequences or what person will happen to the person.
How do you feel when a nude is exposed of somebody you know or a friend of yours?
I'll actually be surprised that a person would do something like that. I didn't expect them to be that type of person to actually send out news or stuff like that. So I was just like, I would brush it off, but it's still saddening to know that person would do that.
Anybody else?
Well, that actually did happen to someone that I know, and sometimes you feel embarrassed because everybody, if you're on the shoot at that person, everybody be like, oh, that she knows their post, and it embarrassing, and for make you know that this person will go through all of that. So most people be like, she have that, me not my she friend, I stop be she friend, I know I hang on she there, so me have it too, but to me, that is the time when she need you the most, or they need you the most at those time, because they will been through lots.
What do you do when you, because I know there are a lot of unsolicited nudes where people just, if they think you're cute or if they like you, they send you a nude. What do you do when you get a nude that you didn't expect? Is it exciting? Is it scary? Do you throw the phone away, or do you say, what do you do? It depends.
All right.
Interesting.
I guess the young guys don't want to take this one. They're
Be
just
honest, guys. Take a minute.
All right, we gotta respond to the end.
When that happens, it really changes the way I see the person who sent me the nude, because that shows how like little respect they have for themselves. So it doesn't do much for me. It does. It hurts them more.
Just explain to me, because I want to know. Is it everybody or all young men who want a girl to do this? Do you all want to have a girlfriend who will share their naked photo with you on social media?
No.
No, Mr. Amo.
Okay, because that's very important maybe sometimes for us to say that it's okay if somebody says, no, I don't want to share it. Is that the case?
Well,
are you just saying that because we're on TV?
Well, I basically think that someone sending you a nude doesn't mean nothing, because what do you do with it? What is the purpose of that? To me, most guys say, well, gee, I must have it, panda, like, you know? And they have fun with it, but to me, that, serve no purpose. That can do nothing. To me, better in a real life.
Okay.
Another question that always come up following like people taking nude pictures. Basically, some people might have it on their phone and don't post it or don't share it. But one of the main questions is why take the picture in the first place? If you want to see your body, you can stand in front of a mirror, or when you go to take a shower, you always see your body. So why take a picture of it and have it in your phone? You're also putting yourself at risk. For say if you lost your phone and someone that doesn't like you find the phone and all your nude pictures is within that phone, then you're kind of putting yourself out there for danger.
So you're encouraging people not to take photos?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think parents are aware of how much this happens?
No, not really.
Some of them, only the socially aware parents that
Yeah.
like keep up with
Yeah.
social media and trends and stuff like that, they're aware.
Give me a number. How often do you receive or see someone share a nude photo of a girl your age? Tell me how often.
Well,
The teen, look, I hear the teens. Yeah. The adults are on a whole next level, yeah.
well, like a week to 2 weeks, nearly every week to 2
Nearly
weeks.
every
and
week.
from a percentage is like 46 out of 100. Nudes are going around.
Okay. Anybody? Uh-huh.
I probably miss them because I'm not on Facebook a lot, so I guess. I
But
don't
you
get to
hear
see
about
them.
them.
I hear about them, but I don't go check on them because it's a waste of time to actually go and find them to
Yeah.
do that.
For sure.
Anybody else? Is it because what I'm trying to establish is how much of a problem is it, or how much is it an issue that we need to talk to people about, to young girls, to young boys? So once a week, that's what we're saying. Consensus? All right. Okay. So what makes you popular? I mean, girls are all about their selfies. What makes you popular online when you're on Snapchat, which seems to be the most common one?
Your activities you do, the activities you do.
The
actually.
activities you do.
Okay. And what kind of activities?
Having a lot of friends to hang out with,
Okay.
to chill, doing something fun. Something not boring, like reading. You won't snap somebody reading in front of you. Yeah, like you won't be in a group and everybody's reading and people like, oh, you're cool because you're reading in a group. And stuff like that. So probably like go out, party, things like that. Drink, smoke. That'll make things maybe.
That's what people think's cool. You shake your head just now. Tell me, what's cool online for young boys?
Well, on Facebook, when I just open my Facebook, on Facebook, the most popular thing that how you dress. The way how you look on Facebook. If you're handsome, you're ugly, something like that. If you got a lot of friends, and then you put up picture about like one girl will post a picture when she in her uniform or something like that. You know, I get a lot of likes. But then if she like in a two-piece or something like that, maybe she get 100 and add like so much comment, so much people share it. She send it, then she will feel like she had a girl. And so the boy want to do the same, and the boy want to dress up. He went with this girl, he will take picture, then they will post it up, and then I feel like they're popular as same as the girl.
And do you think that that's the reason why a lot of people have so many friends on Facebook? How when you have 2,000 friends, you get at least 300 likes or at least 400 likes. Is that why people add so many people on Facebook and Snapchat and so?
Yes, especially like for the males, I know a couple of people that like on Facebook mostly like say if they're getting bored and they would say like I want a couple more new friends or I want some more likes on Facebook, like they would take like a shirtless picture and post it on Facebook and be like they would be comparing. So once I noticed like it was a competition, like you would post a picture of your top and someone else top like side by side and like which one is more like one or two. So like, that was a competition that was going around, mostly around females too. Yeah, males wasn't that much into it, but I noticed recently males are starting to get into it.
Okay. So I want to take the conversation somewhere else right now because it's also important for us to know. We know you're on social media. We know that you obviously have your school obligations. Very often people talk about young people and they say that you guys know nothing about what's happening in the country. And I want to ask you, do you pay attention to what is happening within your own country? Do you watch the news? Are you aware of social issues? Tell me what it's really like.
Is the news important?
I think it goes about to your parents. If your parents are really interested in it, then you probably get into it too. And then you go to school and talk to your friends about it, get into it. So it's like a chain reaction happening there.
But is it something that happens, is it common that people know what's happening in the country, in your schools?
Most of the time, it's not like all the time, not everything they know, but some big things they know.
Yeah. Like what's one of the last important issues in this country that
you're aware
you
of?
and your friends are aware of?
The border issue, that was the biggest one.
The border issue was a big one, yeah. I want you all to share your perspective. I want to know what are the issues that young people are most interested in. Let's start on the end here. What's the last national issue that you and your friends were aware of?
At school, for many months, the main issue was the Section 53 ruling.
Okay.
And that was a topic of discussion in a lot of our classes.
Okay. Yeah?
Well, I think the violence, but
Mm-hmm.
the ending of it, when they have that walk, the walk,
The peace
Uh-huh,
treaty.
the peace
the
walk.
peace walk, yes, that was the biggest thing at our school.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Me, I'm in the safe section 53 because that, me in my way, I in that niche I come out because I don't like it. I don't like it. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The main thing I want to say that the border dispute, and I think that most of them get catch on to that because the way they talk about how no man, me no want no Guatemalan over here, no Guate. It's of we believe that mostly like that they may talk. So I think that's why most of them grab onto it.
Yeah.
Anybody
Here?
else?
Do you all pay attention to, especially since you're young men, the violence in the country? I mean, there are people your age who are the victims and also the perpetrators. What does it mean to you when you hear, you know, a young man, 15-year-old, was the person charged with murder, or a young man, 16-year-old, was the person who was killed?
Like especially within our school, sometimes you don't even have to watch the news, like to say about the murder section, and you go to school and like you would always hear rumors about it, like echoing around and going around. So you sometimes at our school you don't even have to watch the news to know about what's happening, because sometimes even people at your school may know the person that was injured or caused the whole entire problem. So it's something that's always going around.
Actually, the other day, some of my friends were actually saw the extent of all the violence was happening because a guy came on bus and we were on the bus at the back and he showed us a poster. It was like this long and it had a lot of faces on it showing everybody who died because of violence and stuff like that. And we watched on it for a little while and we thought, oh, that's rough. And
Yeah. You are also, do you feel unsafe in Belize City at all?
Well, it depends on the area where you live.
Okay.
Well, for some people, if they live on that side, they are saying they can't go past outside because such and such person not like me, or maybe they may play with their girl and then they want to get revenge back on this boy. So if they say they want to beat up on all kind of thing. So it depends, mostly it depends on the area where you live or the background where you come from.
Okay.
Or the person that will hang out with, the person will associate yourself with.
Well, me, I feel safe from my era because nothing, no, the longness why the wrong there. Barely anything happen wrong there. So I feel safe from my era. I come outside during the night, anytime at night. But my mama don't like me out for the night because she feared like stray away, anything stray, catch me or whatsoever. So I don't go. My mama don't send me out at night. When she send me out, right up so that Johnny quick thing I'll come back.
I for one, I feel safe within Belize. For all the years that I've lived within Belize, I'm not someone that you would hear of to say a troublesome person. I've lived in different parts of Belize, so like I'm very well known in different areas. So like sometimes, like say if I have to go out of town and go buy something, I'm someone I prefer to ride by myself instead of riding with someone else, because like sometimes they have beef with other people and I'd be riding on the street and like every area I'd go, like someone would come like, hey Lincoln, what's up, and stuff like that. But then maybe the person that I'm riding with doesn't like that person.
Yeah.
So I'm someone that's very comfortable within Belize. I don't see it as somewhere that I wouldn't want to live or would want to move from. I'm very comfortable with where I am.
How many of you have heard gunshots? Raise your hand. All right. How many of you have seen a crime scene? Okay. And what does that, I mean, I'm trying to understand what your perception is of the violence in the country. We do know we have an issue. Though, we can say that, right? And it's not necessarily the boys who are in school. We can say that. So you are already in a different scenario. But what do you think we need to do to be able to think back to your primary school days? You must know at least one primary school friend who never gone at the high school who possibly engaged in gang activity. What do you think this country needs to do to get those young men in the place where you are? Committed to school, having a normal youth with social media and whatever else, right?
Well, I think that the country needs to somehow show that these men can have opportunities in jobs that will pay them well. As that's mainly the reason that they don't go to school, because they see that it's a lot of hard work, and when they're finished, they can only get small jobs that pay them little, and they have to work really hard. So maybe there needs to be a program that can help them get better jobs.
Like what he said too, like you need more jobs too and activities to keep them occupied during the day so that don't do mischief stuff, don't be idle during the day, at night. So like a simple scenario, like if you have like a sporting competition in certain areas that are very active in violence, I think involve the youths and the adults to get into the sporting activity to actually have them occupied so that they won't do anything. And at night probably they'll be tired, they won't have time to go out. Or even if they go out, they'll not want to cause any problem with anybody and just relax.
I want to talk a little bit about the stigma as it relates to young men in Belize, because like you mentioned that when you come from a specific area, or you might not be perceived a certain way, or you may be perceived a certain way when you come from maybe George Street or Brong PIV area or from North Side. Do you think that that stigma resonates with you as students? Like, do you think that there's a stigma that is attached to boys from, say, the Vernon School or Canaan School, as opposed to if you go to SJC or EP York or Wesley?
You have somebody in there?
There definitely is a stigma around South Side and North Side students, because you usually see, like, a lot of the South Side students, they hang around themselves in their own area, and they don't usually mix with other people from different areas. And then the same with the schools. You'd usually see SJC with SEA girls. They don't think to have girlfriends from any other school, and that's just something that they want to uphold. You know, like these are the standards that they wanna have. And so if you're at SJC, you can only mess with these girls, or you can only associate yourselves with these people. Just like if you come from the South Side or North Side, you can only associate yourselves with these people to uphold your standard.
Why do you think that is a standard?
I think it was from back then, like from beginning of when SJC and SCA were like together, because I know an uncle who went to SJC and then he usually was with SCA girls and stuff like that. So I think it's from back then. It was not just a
Tradition.
Tradition thing. It's not just a new thing that just came about. I think it was that everybody has a high standards.
You're taught that's what you're fed.
Yeah, and those are high standards to stay with the SCA girls who are have high standards too.
I know that for many of our young people who try to seek jobs, specifically living on the South Side, that has been a serious challenge for them. The discrimination, the stigma has been very high for them. We know the racism thing still is in our country. As a young black male, it's like a crime automatically to be young and black in our country, and that itself is a challenge. But I want to go back to something that he mentioned in terms of the crime and the situation of young people. The statistics is showing, and still showing very much, and it still goes up to a certain percentage, that those who are affected or those who commit the crime are young people between the ages of 14 and 28. And of course, it goes up to a little bit over the 30s and stuff. But the time where the crime is committed is also what we're seeing more is between the hours of 2 p.m. in the afternoon time until probably 10, 11 in the night, which is crucial, because he mentioned very much that we need to do more activities or create more opportunities for young people, and I totally agree. But now we need to try to change the strategy of how we get
Engage
to our
them.
young people, because the time of commitment is not the regular 8 to 5. And most programs and most organizations are only working 8 to 5, which caters more because young people are in schools.
Yeah.
But there are also young people who are not in schools. And those are the young persons, likewise, who are seeing more and more are affected by the crime itself. So the strategy need to work more and more to engage them of that time, which is the afternoon to the night time, and not just the daytime, which is that 8 to 5. Likewise, when the other young man mentioned in terms of jobs, creating jobs for young people, very crucial and very important. Most of these guys who are not in school, they want to go in school. They want to be part of that structure.
Yeah.
But what is frustrating is the whole idea of the normal school setting, a classroom setting.
Yeah.
Some of them are very bright in their thinking, very intelligent. If you give them a fan to fix, they could fix that fan. So you give them a vehicle to operate, pan, they operate it. So it doesn't take away the young person who are in the classroom, who more or less have the academic side of him, compared to the young person who has a manual, hands-on kind of way. And so what we need to do is to look at opportunities like those to create for young people, to say, yeah, what I want to be more a hands-on person, to learn that, but create a job opportunity in that aspect, and not just the office kind of mentality, because I think we've drawn from that over the years that you go to school to work in an office. And we need to transform that more, that to go to school to be educated, to work in any capacity.
Right.
And so we need to develop that more specifically for our young males. And those are crucial areas to look at.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I definitely want to get into your ambitions
Yes.
and what you want to what you see for your life as you grow up. Have you thought about things that you're interested in and fields that you might be, willing to get into or explore, like we talked
What
about
does the
this
future
morning?
hold for you? Let me ask this. What are you working on now to become a better man in the future?
I think it's to try to get my education, the highest education I can try to get, to achieve good in school and try to strive for the best. And just after us go on and use that skills and ideas I have in the real world to try to implement new things, to try to change the world to a better Belize, to try to find a better way to stop all the violence and stuff like that.
I guess it's like what he said, to find better ways to help Belize. Like, I'm planning to take tree science and biochemistry in sixth form. As like my great grandfather, when he died, they didn't have the proper stuff to take care of him. So I guess that's kind of why I would aspire to be a doctor, and to help people that need help, and so that they don't end up feeling like how I felt when my grandfather died.
Okay. What do you want to be when you grow up? What's your aspiration?
Well, right now, my third form, my major one the TD, technical drawing, and electrical. I take the IT vet. So I want to be an electrician when I grow up.
Okay. Good. Cool. Next. We want to hear from all of you on this one, so nobody's escaping.
When I grow up, I would like to be an arts teacher, and I would like to have open up an arts museum with different types of arts and engage other kids, so that could be something big in Belize, because arts isn't something that we promote. We more promote teachers, and I would like art teachers and art museum.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm not particularly sure what I want to be, but I just want to get the highest education I can, so that I'm not limited in any of the opportunities that are offered to me.
Yeah.
More or less, when I grow up in the future, I would want to be a pilot. I've always been, you can say, motivated by different people to become what I want to be and to do what I want to do best. And so, more or less, I'm always someone that wants to be high, not as in we, but someone always up there. So more or less, my goal would be to become a pilot.
Yeah, already answered. Last one here.
Well, for me, I don't really set my mind on what I want to be in life, but for in third farm, my major that I want to take is AC and refrigeration, because in our generation, most of the thing is up to date, and so everybody want AC in their house. Nobody know how fun no because they said that for the poor people. Everybody want to live in this nice cement house, fancy ride, everything. But if they buy one and they install it in their house and they know how to fix it, who will fix it? Because the more people will know how to fix it, that the older generation, and if they die, who will fix it after that? And so everybody want to be that special person living in this big house, and so I don't mind be the person who fix it for them. I want to make money off of the head too.
That's a very smart answer as well. Now, let me ask the question. We'll see how it goes. What kind of man do you see yourself being in the future? And we're not talking profession, qualities. What do you want to see? Huh?
I want to be one very outgoing person. I live with only my pa, because my mom live in a village. But I don't want to catch bus every day, and so I live with my pa, very closer to school. And as living in a single parent family, it's hard because your pa for the work, your man never got time for you, and so you have to learn to do everything for your own, because maybe your pa did out, you know, got time to help you with your schoolwork, and so you have to learn to do everything by yourself. And so I sit down sometimes, I do my homework by myself, or I wait till I reach a school, I go with my friends and I do it. So I see myself as an outstanding person.
Okay. Anybody else? Visions of the man that you want to be? Or even looking at a role model who...
I would like to be get married in my life, like the future, and have a good family, a loving family, a great family to spend my rest of my years with, to retire with, and know that eventually I have not predecessors, but I have people to look after me, people to actually leave something to
leave a legacy.
Yeah, leave a legacy for them.
More or less, when I grow older, I would want to be someone that people look up to, someone that people can say I can trust him, or if I ask for this person to do a task, I don't have to be chasing behind them. The person is someone that's very responsible, and you can trust them with whatever task you give to them.
Okay.
Yeah, like instead of me having role models, I'd want to be a role model for somebody when I'm older.
Fantastic. All right, these are all great answers.
I wanna recognize and big up all the male in Belize, men who are doing really well, who are taking care of their family, who are taking care of themselves. There are some of us who are really taking that stand to make sure that whatever happened in our past as growing up as a young boy and young man, that we help our kids, our relatives, young males to become better. And so kudos to men in Belize who are doing such. And I want to also encourage those who are feeling Father's Day is coming up, and I definitely know that compared to Mother's Day, we go out to that limit for our mothers, but not for our fathers. Fathering is a different thing. I think we should call it Dad's Day and not Father's Day no more, because we have a lot of name as dads, but not persons who are really our fathers. And you have persons or males who are actually playing that part as a father. And I want to say kudos to them likewise, that they are the ones who takes on that mantra and grew these young boys to young men in teaching them the basic things that they need to do or know in terms to carry on themselves. And I want to add on something that he mentioned earlier. Our young people on a whole are doing really well. And that's what I want to continue to push. Each one of our young persons, especially our young males, are role model themselves. And if they start to look on themselves as a positive role model, then they set the platform for the next generation, as he keeps on saying, this young and old generation thing. If you start to look from yourself now as a role model, then your younger brother or that young boy from the same community looks up to you because you're going in school, and that's a positive thing. That's a good step. There are some young people who would want the opportunity to go to school and they don't have it. So you automatically become a role model in your community for those young persons. And he put an emphasis there that he wants to be a role model himself. And I would encourage all you who are here to be a role model for your young people or the kids in your neighborhood. And that set a standard automatically for yourself, because that's what you want to work towards. And being a role model doesn't mean that you'll be perfect, because I always look at this to say role models are always not the persons who are perfect, but the persons who have literally made the wrong choices, the bad mistakes, but step back up and became somebody out of those wrong decisions and choices. So you won't have a perfect road, but you make the right decisions down the road likewise too.
I have a curious question. I just want you all to answer for me. Who do you consider, outside of family members, who do you consider to be your role model or an outstanding male in society that you look up to? It can be anybody. Who's somebody that you look up to, admire, a male? No order, jump in first when you're ready.
Well, actually, two persons.
Tell me.
Obama.
Okay.
Because he's a strong black man, and even though that he's been through so many things, because I watched a movie with him, and he still stand up and tried, and he basically win to be the president. And I also inspired Andrew Monings. Andrew Monings, because he's young and he stands up for youths like us at DYS. And at the time, I wanted to have a show because I watch Amber Rose show and different type of show. And I went to him because my aunt sent me there, right? And he started a whole new thing, like he make I change my mind. Yeah, where would you get the camera from? Who are sponsor you? Who are different things? And I watch his lifestyle, and he's an amazing person.
Young person. Okay. Anybody else? Right here. Just tell me one.
Actually, I had three. One of them, that was Obama.
Okay.
And the other one is a man that's actually right across the street from you guys right now, Mr. Kelly, Ray Kelly. He's always, since I've started high school, he's always been someone that was there for me in case of if I need anything. He was always there to help me. He's always pushed me to my limits. Sometimes I would say that I can't go no more, and he's always there motivating me to tell me that although you reach the top, there's always more that you can go. There's always more.
So that's two. Who's the third?
The third one is actually a pilot that's within the Belize military.
Okay.
Yes, I've been training with him for 3 years now. Telling him, I've told him already that I want to become a pilot one day.
What's his name?
I don't know him by his name, his first name.
All right.
But more or less, he's always been there also to motivate me and tell me that not because people tell you that the sky is the limit, because also there's stars up there and there's a footstep on the moon, so you can always go higher.
All right. Let's get the rest of y'all.
One of my role models is someone who I look up to, but we're on the same level because he's a good friend of mine, Jonathan Alpuche. I recognize a lot of qualities in him that are like desirable for a man to have, not just a man but a person, a good person. And then his cousin Harim, he's the past president of SJC, and he was just
the valedictorian for SJC.
Yes, he's an amazing person to talk to have a conversation with, and I think he's a person who I'd like to aspire to be like.
Well, I already mentioned Drake, rapper, and I like basketball a lot, so I would say Russell Westbrook. He's an amazing basketball player to me. I one day would like to be like him, and just play ball as good as him.
Here.
Well, actually, to me, probably if I have one, I don't remember.
Just not one male person. All of what you
But,
see on TV,
to
Belize.
me, mine's the Mr. Inspector Burton Hamilton. Yeah, because that and thing, he always push me to do things and thing. When we got TV show a different thing, he asked me if I want to go do it. I would have be like no, but he said yes, man, cause you the one of the best, one of the best character, one of the old one too.
Okay, good. Over here.
I would like to say my cousin Maurice Lanza. I grew up with him. He's kind of like my second brother, and I like to say that he inspires me to be somebody outgoing and to help other people. He has the qualities that people would want, and most importantly, the qualities that people needs in the society for today.
Well, as a role model for me, I see one of my math teacher, Mr. Rabato. He is very challenging. He is the HOD of the math department, and he is very challenging. When he gives us the math problem to solve, I might can't solve it, and I'll be like, sir, I can't do it. Then he said, yes, you can do it. You have all the techniques. All you need to do is just review and go over the question, read the question properly, and you can do it. And sometimes I even sit down in class and don't want to do nothing. Sometimes I want to walk out, which I did one time. He went and he talked to me and he told me, yes, you can do it. And when he showed me how to do the first problem, I wanted to slap myself right down. Because it was so easy.
But he took the time to show you.
Yes, he did took the
like
time
that.
to show me.
Thank you for answering that question. And I have.
I like to talk about my math teacher, Mr. Simpson, too.
Simpson, yeah.
Yes. I like
What
to say,
about
I
Mr.
like to
Simpson?
say he's a good person because he teaches us about the real world. He doesn't like he tells us that teachers aren't our babysitters. He tells us that there are guides and that they should show us what society will be like. So he doesn't go and like petty us up. He goes and roughs us up because he knows that that's what we'll experience later on in life.
I can add to that. He was my teacher for 2 years actually, and he was actually a good teacher. He actually pushes us to actually do the work. He gives us in class something easy to do, and when he gets on the test, he's like, "Oh, you have to put thinking in this now. Use the skills that I gave you to actually do the work." At times I was frustrated because like, come on, I don't want to use my head, but I guess I have to actually do the work from him. But he's a good motivator.
Thank you for answering that question. And you know what I appreciate more than anything is that you all have role models right within your communities, already in your lives, and that is very important. So I'm glad that we got the opportunity to call them out so that they know as well that they have young men that see them as role models. So I hope that they continue to influence you in a good way as well. Anything you'd like to say before we close off for today? Anything that you wanted to share from the perspective of a young man?
To encourage other young men.
No commitment, only if you want to.
To mainly stay on the right path, not follow any wrong friends or any wrong peers. Just mainly strive for the best, hit for the stars, do something in life to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, thanks.
So mainly be kind and helpful, and most importantly, be faithful in a relationship for these days.
Yeah, appreciate the women in your life, especially if you're raised by just a mother. They do so much for us to raise us, even though, you know, it's not easy for a woman to raise a man. They do a lot for us, and, you know, just want to show a lot of mother, who's like my main role model, even though she's a woman.
I would like to leave them with a quick message that to stay on the right path.
Yeah.
And no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistake. Not just because you make one mistake means that you're gonna stop. Keep on trying. Eventually, you'll get it right.
Strive for the best. Help out your partner if you see your partner need help in any kind of work, especially like schoolwork and homework and different things.
I want to finish what he said. Not just because you fall, that means you cannot rise back again. Even though you will one day walk and stand on your feet and just be a better person than you was yesterday.
Okay. Well, thank you all for stopping in today. We got you out of school for a little bit too, so but we appreciated you coming. We appreciate you coming in and sharing your perspective, and we wish you the absolute best. We want to see accomplish all the things that you said you do. So we'll see you as a role model, a pilot. What I'm hearing is a doctor, of course, and all the other jobs that you aspire and qualities that you aspire to build. We hope you'll be able to get there. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we have one more segment coming up. We're going to be talking. Oh, okay. No, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back in a few. Stay tuned.